Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be a little bit different. You see, I've been receiving a lot of questions about my garden, like how big is it, the measurements, square footage, etc. And also whatever happened to that area that I was going to transform into a secret garden. Questions like that. So in today's video, I'm going to do my best to answer them. Okay, question number 1, and I get asked this question all the time. Exactly how big is my garden? The square feet and the measurements. My garden is exactly 50 feet long and 26 feet wide, which makes it a total of 1,350 square feet. I measured 26 feet from the building all the way to the fence where the doors are. And I measured 50 feet from this block wall all the way along this fence to the chicken coop. I always consider my garden to be small, but I feel very blessed to have the space that I have. And speaking of small spaces, question number 2. This is my narrow space vegetable garden, and a lot of people always want to know just exactly how narrow is it. This space is 3 feet 4 inches wide. That's it. And it's 32 feet long. And the next question is, people always want to know, how do I grow vegetables here? Does it get full sun? Actually, it does. You can see that now. It's nice and warm and it gets full sun all day. Currently, I have about 15 or 16 nursery pots filled with veggies back here. And this is also a great area where I keep my compost buckets. So I would say my narrow space vegetable garden definitely serves a purpose, and I'm able to utilize this very narrow space, 3 feet 4 inches wide. Very blessed that I am getting sun back here. But you know what, if I wasn't getting sun, I would plant something that likes the shade back here. Question number 4, how do I water my garden? A lot of people want to know if I have drip irrigation. The answer is no. I water my entire garden by hand. I know you probably think I'm crazy, but honestly, I don't even know how I would set up drip irrigation through all this area. It just seems so confusing to me. So I just use a regular garden hose, nothing fancy. And during the summer, I would say I probably water once a day. In the wintertime, maybe once a week. I just do it all by hand. It does take time, I will confess that, but it just gives me a chance to see what's going on in my garden too and evaluate everything. Plus, in my opinion, watering by hand is just very relaxing and therapeutical. What I'll often do sometimes when I have other chores in the garden is I'll turn the hose on to a trickle and put it underneath a shrub or a tree and just leave it there while I tend to other things in my garden. So I guess you could say it's kind of like a little manual drip irrigation system. But no, I don't have any drip. I don't even know how I would set it up, nor if I would even want all the tubes and all that fancy schmancy stuff in my garden. Just too many things to worry about, and I am just much more of a simple person than to be dealing with tubes everywhere. That's just me. So I would say it probably takes me anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to hand water my garden. No big deal. I enjoy it. Another question I often get asked is, do I have a lot of butterflies in my garden? Well, here is one right here. I believe this is called the imperial butterfly. These are the most common. I have occasionally seen a swallowtail, but not too often. This is the most common butterfly I get in my garden, and this guy is, or girl, is sitting on my pugster butterfly bush. I also get a lot of solitary bees and carpenter bees and honeybees. Lots of other insects as well, because as you know, I don't spray any pesticides. I can't believe how close this butterfly is letting me get to it. What a special treat today. It looks like she or he is enjoying the nectar. I really don't know how to tell the difference between the male and the female. Question number 6. Do I have hostas or heucheras or a shade garden? The answer is yes, I do. I just don't focus on this area in my garden too much because, well, it's not real lush and full, and sometimes I get a little insecure about that. But I'm going to show it to you now. Behind my succulent barrel is where all my hostas are. This one is called a guacamole. It's my absolute favorite. And I took pieces from this when it was dormant. You know, underneath you can separate the tubers. And I created more hostas over here. This area gets a little morning sun in the front, so the roses are doing pretty good. But here's another hosta right there. And the other guacamole hosta is right there. So I guess you could say this is a little shade area. And I just planted those in patience, which are kind of filling out and making this area look a little prettier. And behind that is my hydrangea. I'm not really quite sure which one it is, if it's a mop top or a lace cap. So this is my little shade garden area, and like I said, I don't always focus on this too much because it's not real full. And I'm just sometimes not sure it's video worthy. I know that's so silly, but that's just the way us women are. I'm sure women will always find something to be insecure about, right? And behind my bench, I have a little pot with some creeping Jenny and some type of an orchid in there. So I don't really focus on this area too much. It's kind of like a behind the scenes area in my garden. But today I revealed it and I'm being very transparent. Here's a fun question that I promised a viewer I would answer in my next video. Sorry I didn't include the screen captures. I wasn't really planning on making this video, so I didn't save all the, the screen captures where it shows the message and the person's YouTube username, so I didn't include those. However, in my next question and answer video, if you like this sort of thing, I will definitely include those. Okay, so here's the question. How do I keep all the bottles on my fence? This is super easy. What I do is I just got these long screws at the hardware store. I think they're about 6, 7, or 8 inches, I don't remember. And I just screwed them into the fence, and the bottles just sit right on top of them. So here are the bottles from the back side. And what I did is I screwed a 2x4 into the fence, so it gave a little platform for the screws to get screwed into. Hope that makes sense. And of course, this part of the fence already had a 2x4 on it, as so did this one. So that's how it's done. Now, a lot of you know that on this side of my garden, I have a huge shop and a driveway because before my husband moved out, he ran a car building business. But then he moved out. I'm not going to get into that. I was left with a big open shop and a driveway. So the question is, what have I done with that space? I was talking about maybe putting raised vegetable boxes back there or doing something with it, but I know a few of you have been asking me, Liz, what did you do with that space? So now I'm going to show you. Well, right now, this space is being used to house the dogs that came with my roommate, John. And there is Duke. Hi, Duke. And that is Daisy. They think I'm taking them out. So John is actually my ex-husband and the father of all my children. And when my husband moved out, I had no way to pay all of my bills. So John says, hey, I'll rent a bedroom from you, because we remain really good friends and we get along great. But he also brought his 2 dogs, which actually in the past were my dogs too, because like I said, we were once married. So I'm using this garage as a storage for all of my arts and crafts and to house Daisy and Duke. So this is where they live, and now I have a place to keep my bikes and all my stuff. But that's what I'm using this space for. It's a home for Daisy and Duke. I hope that answers your question. I know it seems really complicated, but sometimes our lives take turns and spins that are completely unexpected. And I did my best to answer that question. Look at Duke. Look at how cute he is. I swear he is the sweetest dog. I actually kind of missed them, so I'm really happy to have them back. And I'm not using it for vegetable boxes, that's for sure. But at least the dogs have a wonderful big space to be shaded from the summer, and this is their place now. It's okay, I have enough garden on the other side. Another question my viewers have been asking me is, what am I going to do with the extra space behind my garden? I was going to create a secret garden back here. However, it's really hard to get my garden hose here. So creating another garden would be really hard to keep watered. So here is my idea. See, here's this space next to the shop. Here's all the extra space I have. Okay, back to my idea. Instead of creating a secret garden, I'm going to use this area as a plant hospital. You know how like after your bulbs are done blooming and you still have to let the leaves photosynthesize in order to bring nutrients down to the bulb for next year? Well, this is a great place to keep all those plants that are not looking pretty. Kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So I guess you could call it a plant hospital or a little storage area. Okay, back to paradise. And although this wasn't a question, I just wanted to show you really quick. Look at my corn. Look at how tall it's getting. Not as tall as I would like it, but oh my goodness, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks so cute along that fence. But I came out into my front garden because this is another question. A lot of people want to know, what is that big tree in the front of my house? This tree is called a Chinese pistache. And this is a female because it makes all these berries in the fall. It's a beautiful tree. I just love it. But I never knew the name until somebody asked me. So I found out it's called a Chinese pistache. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section, and then I'll make another video just like this one. Thanks for watching.